Guten Tag, willkommen to PopCulture Reacts as we are doing our mini jump back into Rammstein for the greatest hits period. And
Yes.
we are tackling the second part of the Mein Herz Brennt pair, where this time we are getting the piano version.
What do we how do we feel about the PM piano?
Well, it's a very versatile instrument that can be used many ways, and when done well, can change a song beautifully. When done
Yeah.
badly, becomes a tarnishing of your childhood when you hear a Blink 182 song on a Christmas advert in a piano version.
Um I'll come back to the Blink 182 any advert for Christmas because you'll have to remind me what song it was and what advert it's in. But yeah, I'm generally a fan of the piano and I think you're right. I think when done well it's very versatile to absolutely change the emotion and the core of a piece of music, isn't it? And yeah, I think in the right hands with the right concept, it can really enhance something. Now, what Blink 182 song was it, and what advert was it
It
in?
was it was the M&S advert for Christmas,
Oh,
and it was
posh Christmas.
all the small things,
Okay.
and I was just like, what? No, no,
Well,
this.
I guess if you got a connection with it, that would matter. Whereas I don't know, not a song I was ever really bothered about, nor a band. So, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of any. Well, I guess most adverts have to have some music, but music being co-opted and altered for, let's say, mainstream advertising. So the sort of
Mhm.
thing my mum might watch and go, "Oh, I fancy a sausage roll from there now."
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the thing with that hurt the most was it was, if you look at what the masses were thinking of pop punk in 1998 and 1999, it was the outsiders. It was grotty kid music. I guess, yeah, it is now 24 years later,
most of those people are now
and
shopping in M&S. Yeah,
and now we're all nearly 40 and
yeah,
grown up and shit. But it breaks what what punk music should be. It's not corporate sponsorship music.
yeah. I mean, I think like for me, the clue was always in the title of pop punk. You know, it is the poppier side of it, and I think for me, Blink 182 were liked by a lot of people. So I don't know. It didn't really have much subversiveness in my eyes. But yeah, you know, there's a leaps and bounds, isn't there, from that to a Marks and Spencer's Christmas advert. We're not here to talk about Marks and
No,
Spencer's.
no.
Not a sponsor. We don't have sponsors, but you know, I don't mind a sandwich from M&S though. So if you want a sponsor in sandwich vouchers, I'm in. Nor are we here to talk about Blink 182. Yeah, we're here to listen to almost a cover. Then it's not a cover, is it? It is
No,
the band performing it with a
a,
piano backing track,
a reimagined version.
a reimagining. I very much like the original that we did in the last episode. And I'm really tempted to see how this goes. I think one of the real selling points for the original is how good and how good, how
Epic and orchestral and
and haunting
haunting.
with it though, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like this should be a slam dunk, but I guess you never know in life, do you?
So, shall we get our hearts to burn?
Let's do it.
Nun, liebe Kinder, gebt fein Acht. Ich bin die Stimme aus dem Kissen. Ich hab euch etwas mitgebracht. Hab es aus meiner Brust gerissen. Mit diesem Herz hab ich die Macht, die Augenlider zu erpressen. Ich singe, bis der Tag erwacht. Ein heller Schein am Firmament. Mein Herz brennt. Sie kommen zu euch in der Nacht. Dämonen, Geister, schwarze Feen. Sie kriechen aus dem Kellerschacht und werden unter euer Bettzeug sehen. Nun, liebe Kinder, gebt fein Acht. Ich bin die Stimme aus dem Kissen. Ich hab euch etwas mitgebracht. Ein heller Schein am Firmament. Mein Herz brennt. Mein Herz brennt. Sie kommen zu euch in der Nacht und stehlen eure kleinen, heißen Tränen. Sie warten, bis der Mond erwacht. Ja, und drücken sie in meine kalten Venen. Nun, liebe Kinder, gebt fein Acht. Ich bin die Stimme aus dem Kissen. Ich singe, bis der Tag erwacht. Ein heller Schein am Firmament. Mein Herz brennt. Mein Herz brennt. Mein Herz brennt. Mein Herz brennt, ja. Mein Herz brennt.
So, Mr. Seddon, what do you feel of the piano version of Mein Herz Brennt?
A lot to unpick there, isn't there? Because I know quite often we don't so much recently get into like the visuals that we're seeing, but quite powerful visual as well, isn't it? We're very much used to when Rammstein have videos, it being of the epic grand scale, very inventive in maybe the stories that they're sort of telling with it. Whereas obviously this one was a very much sort of pared back version, wasn't it? You know,
Yeah.
having Till there and with makeup, but kind of in this, I don't know, like it felt something that was akin to a kind of a horror movie, the setting anyway. But yeah, really visually stunning. Without the pomp and circumstance and grandeur that normally you may come to expect. So yeah, I was really impressed with how it looked. I really was.
Mm. It's that thing with this one, because obviously with it being, as I said in the last episode, it's sort of based on the German version of the
Yeah,
Sandman ethos. If you had Till standing at the end of the bed looking like that, you think he is the monster. He
yeah,
has that
yeah,
look of, the evil person that comes, and will take you in your sleep and murder you. If you've not been a good child.
yeah,
It fits
yeah.
so well what the meaning and the story of the song is.
But without
That
going down
look,
the road that you could have gone, as you say, you could have had that being at the end of a bed of a child or gone down that road. But I think the fact that it was just in the
it's like
like for
his
the most part,
monster's lair.
yeah, yeah, in a singular room and almost kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm just reading too much to it, but like the loneliness of a solitary figure when they're on their own. Um, let's go with plotting and planning, but kind of, I guess, telling their own story. Yeah, I did. I thought it was um, a really nice, a really engaging video for so little. And
Yeah,
I think it goes to show. And we talked about this on certain songs and things like that. Is sometimes less is so much more, isn't it? And I think I'd put this in front of someone and go, "There's an example of when less can be so much more, or
yes,
can be so much more engaging than whiz bang, what a picture, what a photograph kind of stuff."
yeah.
So how do you feel about this comparatively to the other version?
So for me, I actually prefer this. This is much more haunting, much more unsettling than the original version. Still as epic, still as grand, still as bombastic, but in such more of a toned down way, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
still has the same feelings to it, but it's just him, the piano, and that's it. And the fact that obviously the vocals were completely re-recorded because the cadence is
yes,
slightly different for this, and especially he's not doing his, obviously in the normal version he shouts the "Mein Herz Brennt." It's all much more unsettling because it sits in that pocket of,
kind of that haunting, whisperingy elements
yeah,
to certain, like as you say, that kind of creepy. I'm in your ear and I'm saying this menacingly, but not overtly shouty and threatening.
yeah.
Menacing is probably the word that would have saved me 8 sentences there.
But yeah, no, I actually prefer this version over the original, and I fucking love the original.
It's
The
hard, isn't it?
original's
Because
in my
I'm
top 10
I'm
of
with you.
all
I love that
Rammstein.
original. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to choose because it is amazing, and I think the way the music is, I think, so bombastic and impactful and orchestral in that original. I find it very hard. I think I'd find it very hard to put anything above it. So like for context, I think that is. I'm with you. I think it's amazing, and the more I've listened to it, the more arresting, the more grabbing it becomes, etc., etc., etc. You are right. The vocal changes quite a lot, and do you know what? It's get ready for the unsubscribes here, but go with me. Um, I love the piano. I think the piano work in this is, considering how much I love the original musically. Um, Obviously all the notes are there and they're played in relatively the same order. But I think they managed to make it feel dramatically different with a piano. But still horror esque.
Yeah.
But it just took me down a different road. So when I'm hearing that, when you get there, da 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 bit, literally I got ripped into the movie Candyman, and I'm like, wow, if this bit of piano had been around when the soundtrack for Candyman was being made, this would be
Mm.
in it, and I absolutely love it for that. And I do think the vocal performance is really really good. I don't want the vocal performance in this. I could listen to that piano all day long, and I found at points, again, I think the vocals are great, but I think the vocals sometimes pulled me away from what I wanted to hear, which was the piano. But that's more of a compliment to how much I love the piano rather than that, because especially when Till gets into that kind of operatic range of his, I think it really does shine. And I said earlier, I like the menacing tone that comes with it,
Mm.
but I think I'd love to just hear that music on its own, because I think it's haunting and arresting enough that I actually didn't need a vocal to go along with it. Which, as I say, is a really weird thing to say when I say how much I enjoyed the vocal, but I think I was so impressed with how that sounded on piano. I was almost like, piss off vocal, just give me that piano, please.
So you'll be happy to know there is a version without the lyrics that was
Yeah,
on
that'll
the
be.
EP, and there's also a Rammstein album that came out in like 2015 or 2016, something around there. That is just orchestral, instrumental versions of Rammstein songs. We won't be covering that on here, but just for him to get his love
Well,
on.
for context, like how and when we listen to music, and obviously that changes for everyone. But and this isn't a shameless plug for the fact that we do a comic book show, but I can imagine listening to that in the background late at night, just playing whilst I'm reading the comic, but probably some sort of one of the indies, one of the horror comics,
Mm.
like a Bone Orchard, Jeff Lemire, or something like that, and having this going in the background, and it just helping to sort of reinforce that mood. But yeah, I will still say I prefer the original because I think everything together um, works better for me. But yeah, I've got to absolutely take my hats off to how fantastic that piano is, and I think if we'd have just heard the piano, I might be saying that's my favourite of them all.
So, as I said, I prefer this over the original by wafer thin
Yeah,
levels.
it's that lovely thing in it where sometimes we kind of go like, don't no one get mad at us because we're comparing great to great. And if you're gonna have a favorite, like I'm not saying I hate the other one. I'm going I prefer one over the other.
Yeah. But you lot out there, are you with me in the piano version being the better? Or are you with said and the original being the better? Let us know down there in
And
the
and
comments.
it's weird. Sorry for context. I think if you'd have said to me before we listened to either, and obviously we have to go quite back in time for you, but if you'd have asked me to have a punt, I'd have said I'd have preferred the piano one and you prefer the other one.
I
So I think
know.
that's how our lilt would generally go, wouldn't it? But we flip flopped, keeping everyone guessing.
So yeah, so as always, comments down there, obviously on which version you prefer, and also any other bits and pieces you want us to react to. As you know,
Any other fantastic piano-based music? I'm always down for that.
yes. As always, do the other YouTube things of like, subscribe, and ringing bells. And until next time, adieu.